You go to buy groceries. Card declined. You try to pay your rent. Transaction failed. You try to buy gasoline. Error. Purchase not permitted. This is not a glitch. This is not a mistake. It is a feature. It is the OFF switch. And they are building it right now, in plain sight. You are told that inflation is transitory. You are told that the $315 trillion global debt bubble is a problem to be managed. You are told that the endless series of banking crises are contained and solved. It is the biggest lie of your lifetime. The collapse is not an accident. It is a controlled demolition. They are not trying to fix the system. They are trying to replace it. The unpayable debt isn't the problem. It's the excuse. It is the crisis they need to force you to accept the solution you will beg for. A new, safe, secure digital dollar. But it is not a dollar. It is not money. It is a digital leash. Where are you watching from? Are you still able to use physical cash in your town, or are you seeing card-only signs everywhere? Let me know in the comments. I want to see the map of the resistance. If you are new here, subscribe. We read the blueprints they don't want you to see. To understand the end game, you must first understand the game. The history of money is not the history of economics. It is the history of control. In the beginning, money was a physical thing. It was real. A gold coin had value because the gold was the value. A silver coin was heavy in your hand. It was a tool of direct trust between two people. You didn't need a bank or a government or a processor to approve the transaction. The value was self-evident. It was honest. And that was the problem. It was too honest. A king couldn't just create more gold to fund his wars. He had to have it. He had to tax it or mine it. It was a limit. It was a chain on his power. So, they invented the first abstraction, the receipt, the goldsmith. You would give your gold to the smith for safekeeping, and he would give you a paper receipt. Soon, people weren't trading the heavy gold. They were just trading the receipts. They were lighter, more convenient. But the goldsmith noticed something. People rarely came for the actual gold. He realized he could write more receipts than the gold he had in the vault. He could lend these fake receipts and charge interest on them. He was creating money from nothing. Just ink on paper. Sound familiar? This was the birth of fractional reserve banking. The birth of the first financial illusion. The idea that a promise to pay is the payment. The monarchs and states saw this power and they wanted in. They seized control of the system. They created central banks and official paper money. But they had to keep up the illusion. They had to make the same promise as the goldsmith. This paper is as good as gold. This was the gold standard. It was a promise that for every paper dollar, there was a real, physical piece of gold sitting in a vault. It was still a limit. It was still a chain. But wars are expensive, and political promises are very expensive. That chain was inconvenient. So, they found excuses. Temporary suspensions of the gold standard to fight a war. Temporary emergency measures to stop a bank run. Sound familiar? It's the oldest trick in the book. A temporary crisis measure that becomes a permanent expansion of power. Think of the Patriot Act. Think of 2 weeks to flatten the curve. This brings us to the Great Betrayal. The moment the mask didn't just slip, it was ripped off. August 15, 1971. Richard Nixon went on television and looked the entire world in the eye. He said he was temporarily suspending the convertibility of the dollar into gold. It was a lie. It was the end. It was the day money died. And fiat currency was born. Fiat is a Latin word. It means by decree. This money has value because we say it does. It is not backed by gold. It is not backed by silver. It is backed by nothing. Nothing but the full faith and credit of the government, which is just a polite way of saying it's backed by tax collectors, by threats, by aircraft carriers. And what happened the second that gold anchor was cut? The second the chain was broken? The printing began. Look at any chart you want. National debt, inflation, housing prices, the gap between the rich and poor. It all starts in 1971. They were given the keys to the printing press, and they have been running it hot ever since. They have printed tens of trillions of dollars. They have created the largest debt bubble in all of human history. And now, we live in a world of pure, parasitic finance. 97% of all money in the United States isn't even paper. It's just digital entries on a bank's ledger, numbers on a screen. We've gone from gold to paper backed by gold, to paper backed by nothing, to numbers on a screen backed by paper backed by nothing. Each step is a further abstraction. a further step away from real value and a step closer to total control. And now, that digital ledger system, the one that blew up in 2008, the one that requires trillions in secret liquidity from the Fed just to survive the night, is failing. The illusion is cracking. The debt load is too high. And right on cue, just in time, they have a solution ready. The final abstraction. The final step. Sound familiar? A new crisis. A new temporary measure. A new solution. The 2008 crash was a warning. The 2020 money printing fire hose was the aftershock. The system is terminally ill, and the doctors who have been called in to save it are the very same architects who designed the disease. We talk about the elites, the bankers, but it's time to name names. This isn't about your local congressman. This isn't even about the Federal Reserve or the European Central Bank or the Bank of England. No, those are just the branch managers. The real power, the real architects. They sit in a single, ominous building, an unelected, untouchable, supranational organization that answers to no one. It is a sovereign power with its own police force, its own charter, and total legal immunity. Its employees are immune from prosecution. Its documents are immune from search. It is a government unto itself, hidden in plain sight. It is the Bank for International Settlements, or BS, located in Basel, Switzerland. This is the central bank of central banks. This is the club. This is where the heads of the Fed, the ECB, and the People's Bank of China all meet in secret, away from the press, away from your elected officials, to coordinate the global financial system. And they have a plan. They have been working on it for over a decade. They call it a CBDC, a central bank digital currency. This isn't a conspiracy theory. They are telling you what they are doing. You just have to listen. The man in charge, the general manager of the BS, went on stage and gave the entire game away. And you won't believe the name he uses to describe their new power. The receipt is wilder than you think. The man's name is Agustín Carstens. He is the architect-in-chief of the digital leash. And in 2021, speaking about the future of money, he said this: "With cash, we don't know who is using a $100 bill. We don't know who is using a 1,000 peso bill." A key difference with the CBDC is the central bank will have absolute control on the rules and regulations that will determine the use of that expression of central bank liability. And also, we will have the technology to enforce that. Let's read that again. Absolute control. Technology to enforce it. He told you. This isn't about convenience. It's not about faster payments. We already have faster payments. We have Venmo. We have PayPal. We have Zelle. The private sector solved this problem years ago. This isn't about speed. It is about programmability. This is the key. This is the word you must understand. Programmable. Money. This new money is not money at all. It is a token. It is a coupon. It is a liability of the central bank, and it comes with rules. Rules that they write. Rules that are embedded in the code of your money. And they are sprinting to get this done. This is not some far-off fantasy. Statistic 1. As of right now, over 130 countries are actively developing or have already launched a CBDC. Statistic 2. Those countries represent 98% of the entire global economy. Do you think that's a coincidence? That every major government on Earth, from China to the US, from Russia to the EU, suddenly had the exact same idea at the exact same time? This is not a coincidence. It is a rollout. It is a coordinated plan. Statistic 3. China is leading the way with its digital yuan, or ECNY. It's not a test. It's an implementation. It has already been trialed by over 260 million people in 25 cities. And it already has features, expiration dates, permissions. So, what are these features they are designing for you? What are the rules and regulations they plan to enforce? This is the core of the leash. It has 3 main locks. Lock 1, the expiration date, the end of savings. This is the most insidious. The economy is slowing. People are saving money. They are hoarding cash because they are afraid. This is a problem for central planners. They don't want you to save. Saving is independence. Saving is power. They need you to spend. They call it economic velocity. With a CBDC, they can force velocity. Imagine the next stimulus check. It's not a check. It's a digital wallet deposit of $1,000. But that $1,000 comes with a rule. A line of code that says, this money will expire in 30 days. You are forced to spend it. Now, on things you may not even need. Because if you don't, it's gone. Poof. It disappears from your wallet. Your ability to save, to build wealth, to plan for the future, to become independent is deleted. You are permanently reduced to a just-in-time consumer. You are a rat in a maze, and the cheese dissolves if you don't eat it fast enough. You are forced to run their wheel just to stay in the same place. This is parasitic finance at its peak. It also allows them to implement negative interest rates directly on you. Right now, if a bank tried to charge you -2% to hold your money, you'd pull it out. You'd hold cash. But in a CBDC world, there is no cash to pull out. You have no choice. They can tax your savings daily just by having them not expire. Your only choice is to spend it on things you don't need or watch it be siphoned away. It is an engineered collapse of personal wealth. Lock 2. The permissions. The off switch. This is the absolute control Carstens was talking about. This is the digital leash. This is where the money is no longer neutral. Every single token is programmed. The central bank can write social rules, political rules, carbon rules directly into the code of your money. Let's run the scenario. You go to the gas station. Transaction failed. A message pops up. You have exceeded your carbon score for the month. You are not permitted to buy more fuel. You go to the grocery store. You try to buy a steak. Transaction failed. You have exceeded your red meat allowance for the week. Please try the insect protein. You try to buy a plane ticket. Transaction failed. You are not permitted to travel more than 15 miles from your registered home zone. You try to buy ammunition. Flagged. You try to buy a book they don't like. Flagged. You try to donate $50 to a political protest. And this is where we stop guessing. Because this already happened. Remember the Canadian trucker protest in 2022? A peaceful protest. The government didn't like it. So, they invoked the Emergencies Act. And with the stroke of a pen, they ordered the banks to freeze the accounts of anyone involved. Not just the truckers. Anyone who donated. No trial. No due process. No judge. Statistic 4. Over 210 bank accounts were frozen. Statistic 5. A total of $7.8 million was seized. They were turned off. And they did this using the old system. The clunky system. They had to call the banks. They had to serve notices. With a CBDC, it's not a phone call. It's a keystroke. It's not a dozen people. It's millions. It's automated. Your wrong think is detected by an algorithm, and your life is turned off. You are a non-person. You cannot buy, sell, or work. That is the off switch. Lock 3. The cage. The end of cash. The cage is not complete as long as there is an escape route. Physical cash is the escape route. Cash is freedom. Cash is anonymous. Cash is offline. Cash is final. It doesn't ask questions. It doesn't report back to a central server. It doesn't have a carbon score. It is the last tool of privacy and autonomy we have. And they are trying to kill it. They are engaged in a war on cash. First, the propaganda. They tell you cash is dirty. Remember the pandemic? Cash is spreading the virus. They tell you it's unsafe. They tell you it's for criminals, for terrorists, for tax evaders. This is a lie. They hate cash because they can't control it. Statistic 6. Look at India. In 2016, the government banned 86% of the cash in circulation overnight. They called it demonetization. It was chaos. It was shock therapy to force 1 billion people into the digital system. Statistic 7. Look at Sweden. They are almost there. Less than 10% of transactions in Sweden are in cash. Stores can legally refuse to accept it. The plan is simple. Step 1. Roll out the convenient CBDC. Bribe you to use it. Get $500 in your new Fed wallet. Step 2. Start the propaganda. Cash is old. Cash is for drug dealers. Step 3. Restrict it. You can no longer withdraw more than $50 a day. Cash transactions over $100 are illegal. Step 4. The final step. Ban it. The cash switch off. The moment the last physical dollar is turned in, the leash is locked. The cage door slams shut. You have no alternative. You are 100% trapped. That is not money. That is totalitarian control. Let's put the puzzle together. The old system, the fiat system, built on the illusion of 1971, is dying. The $315 trillion debt bubble is unpayable. It must be defaulted on. But you can't just tell people that their pensions are gone. You can't just tell them their savings are worthless. You can't tell them the illusion is over. It would be a revolution. So, you need a transition. You need a great reset. You need a crisis. A crisis so massive, a financial crash so deep, a war so terrifying, a new pandemic, a cyber attack that shuts down the grid. A crisis so profound that the public screams for help. And you will be there. The BS. The central banks. And you will offer them the solution. The old system failed. It was messy. It was unfair. But we have a new system. A safe system. A secure system. A Fed wallet for every citizen. We will wipe out the old debt and give you this new money to start fresh. And in their fear, in their desperation, people will accept. They will trade their autonomy for the illusion of safety. They will walk willingly, gratefully, into the digital cage. This is not like 1971. This is not like 2008. Those were analog collapses. This next one will be digital. The system is global. The technology is instant. The control will be total. This isn't just about money. It's about you, your behavior, your choices, your very thoughts. The greatest danger we face is not the plan itself. It's our denial of it. It's the comfort of thinking it can't happen here. It's the psychological safety of trusting the institutions that have repeatedly proven they are not built to serve you, but to manage you. They are built on borrowed time, and the bill is coming due. This is not a prediction. This is a blueprint. I've read you the receipts. What do you think? Is this the end game, or is this just progress? If you're tired of the official story, subscribe. We have more blueprints to read.